A senior officer in the Namibian Police Force announced on Friday that the remains of 16 victims of the Mozambican plane crash have so far been positively identified. The plane crashed in the Bobata National Park in the Kavango East region on 29 November last year, killing all 33 people on board. Deputy Inspector General for Administration Major General James Shivikwa told local journalists in the capital on Friday that the relatives of 9 of the 16 victims who have been positively identified have asked the Namibian authority for the remains of their loved ones to be repatriated to the respective countries. The repatriation of 9 of the victims is now underway, Shivikwa said, adding that the repatriation of the remains will be conducted with the involvement of, amongst others, the staff of the Namibian National Forensic Science Institute. The respective governments involved, local funeral undertakers, and crisis and disaster management company Kenyon International Emergency Services. He said the Kenyon team have already met with the families of the victims in China, Portugal and Angola, and have also provided these families with the latest updates on the identification process, as well as the repatriation of the victims' remains. Representatives of the Mozambican airline LAM have met with the families of the victims in Mozambique and Angola. Shivikwa further announced that the wreckage recovery assessment teams have arrived in Rundu and drove to the crash site on Thursday to start surveying the crash site. Once the survey of the crash site is completed, a plan to remove the wreckage will be established. This will be likely occur next month. A Kenyan team will form part of the survey and the wreckage recovery teams. Shivikwa further stated that the DNA testing timeline of the victims' remains has not changed and this testing has already commenced. He said once all the DNA samples are tested, they will have a much better idea of the expected profile yield and will be able to provide a more definite timeline. Shivikwa also said Namibia has proposed a process for the return of the belongings and properties of the victims to their respective families. The Namibian police is still in discussions with the relevant ministries in finalizing this process, and as soon as this process is finalized, we will publish the agreed upon process, Shivikwa noted. Meanwhile, Namibia's Director of Aircraft Accident Investigations, Erickson Ngola, last month told NAMPA he had received information that the preliminary results of the investigations concluded on the black box, which was retrieved from the wreck of Mozambican Airlines flight TM470, indicated that the pilot brought down the plane. The plane was a complete wreck and bodies were extremely hard to identify, but the black box flight recorders were recovered intact and sent to the United States National Transport Safety Board in Washington to be decoded and transcribed. João Abreu, chairman of the Mozambican Civil Aviation Institute, was also earlier quoted by the Associated Press and the British Broadcasting Corporation, saying there was clear intention by the pilot to crash the plane. The pilot, Amino dos Santos Fernandes, locked himself in the cockpit and did not allow his co-pilot back inside until moments before the plane hit the ground, Abreu was quoted as saying. However, he said the pilot's motives have not been established and investigations will continue in that direction.